Antelope winner. You see, when we see antelope, we have seen suya. We have used them for suya. We use them for pepper soup.
Hello. Welcome everybody, wherever you're watching or listening to us from. This is the Naija FC Podcast, where we talk about everything surrounding Nigerian football. And of course, for this month, we've been focusing on the AFCON 2023 that is taking place in Ivory Coast. As always, I'm your host, AyoT, and I have with me my reliable co-host.
Like, thanks for joining.
Yes, thank you very much for joining us, guys. This episode, we have a special one for you. We are at the quarterfinal stage of the AFCON. And of course, the Super Eagles of Nigeria will be facing the Black Antelopes of Angola on Friday, February 2nd. Super Eagles are on the verge of glory. A few matches to go, but they're on the verge of getting something done big time. And we're just going to tell you what we think could happen. We're going to share our thoughts. And of course, we always encourage you guys to engage with us in the comments. Just to give you a little bit of background, the Super Eagles finished second in Group A behind Equatorial Guinea after drawing their first game against Equatorial Guinea 1-1 and then defeating Ivory Coast and Guinea-Bissau. We qualified from the group. We went on to face Cameroon in the round of 16, and it was an intense but very interesting battle where Ademola Lookman ended up scoring a fantastic brace and then sent Nigeria through to the quarterfinal to set up this tie that we're now discussing against Angola. Nigeria have reached the semi-final of the AFCON in 3 of our last 4 appearances. So we have a chance to do it again. In the last one, we crashed out in round of 16 after losing against Tunisia, but we have a chance to improve on that showing and to get to the semis that almost at this point seems like a birthright for us as Nigerians. Should Angola win the game though, it would be their own first appearance in the semi-final of an AFCON tournament. So there's something at stake for both teams. Nigeria can, go and do what they usually do. Angola can create history for themselves. I think it's going to be an interesting match. It's not going to be easy. Angola, they came out of their group finishing top. Were impressive in the group stage. Not great, but at the same time, they did themselves good. They were in the same group with Algeria, Mauritania, and Burkina Faso. They drew their first game against Algeria 1-1. They narrowly, beat Mauritania 3-2 in the second match. And then they beat Burkina Faso in their third match 2-0. They qualified as the group winners and went on to face Namibia in round of 16. And they very comfortably, I think I can say that they comfortably dispatched Namibia in the round of 16 to set up this tie against the Super Eagles. So both teams are coming into this game full of confidence, full of hope, very motivated. And frankly, anything can happen in this match. I think it's going to be a tough encounter. This AFCON has shown us that no country they agree for anybody. It's not only Nigeria when they agree. Nobody they agree for anybody. So the Super Eagles would have to be on their A game. They'll have to be in tip-top condition. But of course, there are a few things that we need to talk about, that can potentially make or break us in this match. Smith Layi, Angola, how are you feeling, leading up to this game? Are you happy that we're facing Angola? What are your thoughts?
Yes, what I've it's a dream game for me because I've wanted Angola in a very important game and a very crucial game, just to not a revenge actually, just to show them that we're class apart, that we're better than them. So I'm really excited about the game that we played on Friday. I think that this is the right time for the Super Eagles to right the wrongs because Angola has been a tough nut to actually crack over the years. Imagine a team we play we play 10 games. We have 5 draws against Angola. So we don't be having it what easy since the 80s. And our first game was in 1981. So we should go all out for this game, honestly. I'm really happy for this game.
Amazing. And I think, we have to say, for most Nigerian fans, before the tournament started, if you had asked us, would we take a game against Angola in the quarterfinal to qualify for the semis? Most people would have said yes. So now the Super Eagles need to hold their own end of the bargain. They've been getting a lot of support, a lot of praises. They need to continue to show themselves. As far as head-to-head between the two sides, The last time that we met Angola in any kind of international match was in 2005. A lot of people remember what happened in 2005. Angola stopped us from going to that World Cup in 2006 in Germany. So the last time we met them in an international game, it was bad for us. The last time that we beat Angola in a match was in 1989. So, of course, it's a long time ago, but at the same time, Angola is not really a team that we face so often. And I'm sure the Super Eagles would want to get a win in this game. I remember in one of their training sessions, a journalist had asked Kenneth Omero that what does he feel, given the fact that the last time we faced Angola in 2005, they stopped us from going to the World Cup. And Omero responded saying something like, "Oh, why are you asking me about 2005, 2006? I was not there. That all that does not matter to us." So the Super Eagles are kind of putting history behind them and are just going to go into that game giving their all, wanting to win that game by any means possible. On the Angolan side, we've heard so many different stories about promises being made to Angola. Oh, we promise if you win this one, we'll buy you iPhone. Everybody on your team, like they cannot buy iPhone by themselves. If you win this game, we'll give you 1,000. We'll give you 5,000. We'll give you $8,000. All those financial whatever. Do you think it can play into the outcome of this match at all?
And financial incentive, they're part of a motivating factor for a team. I remember that there was a team in West Africa. They were promised $30,000 to progress, but they call them one star. It's a star, one star like that. Maybe it's black or red, I don't know. But the team failed to progress. So that means that money sometimes and ability they go together. Sometimes, for example, now if they meet me and AyoT now to go and face Super Eagle, they'll give us $1 million. Do you think we will win?
If they give us
There's no way they can.
1 billion, Zef.
We don't go away. In fact, now basket go use carry the go house. So it's not, see, talent and everything they must match each other for you to say, okay, you want to actually do something. See, I won't lie to you. This is a very important stage of this competition. This is the first time that we face Angola in an AFCON. We have faced them in qualifiers before. This is the first time in an AFCON. So this is like the first time. So this is not group stage. Everybody know their mother and their father. See, you have been to war. You fought against elephant. You have been to war. You fought against lion. You won. And ordinary antelope. Antelope winner. You see, when we see antelope, we have seen suya. We have used them for suya. We use them for pepper soup. So, if you have been to war, you fought elephant, you fought lion, and thunder did not strike you down. You saw a wild dog, you destroyed a wild dog. It's now left for antelope. And we're not scared of antelope. No. No.
I love that. And of course, it will be up for the Super Eagles to stop Angola from making their own history and getting to their first semi-final. Smith Layi, though, let's look at the Angolan side a little bit. They have some quality in their team. We have to give them a little bit of credit. Gelson Dala, who scored, I think, 2 goals for them against Namibia in their round of 16 match.
Yeah.
He is the second highest goal scorer at this AFCON so far. He has 4 goals. So we have to give him credit. He's been finishing quite well for them. He's leading the line well, and he's doing a good job to push them this far. They have a midfielder on their team as well. His name is Freddie. He's their captain. He also, I believe, is it the highest assist in the tournament so far with 3 assists. So I think those are going to be the 2 players, in my opinion, that the Super Eagles would have to watch in the Angolan side. And then if I want to add a 3rd player, I'll add Mabululu, because he's also going to be in that forward line. He's going to be attacking for them. And, we've seen it that Mabululu can finish a ball quite well. If you haven't seen that goal against Namibia, I can't stop talking about it. It was a fantastic finish. So if we can control those 3 players, I think the game would largely be in our hands and we'll have a fantastic chance of going through in this game. One thing that I would say the Super Eagles can use to exploit Angola in this match is that I don't think they have a quality goalkeeper.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get into Nigeria. We'll talk about our own goalkeeper as well. But for now, we're talking about Angola's goalkeeper. Unfortunately for them, their first choice goalkeeper got sent off a straight red in the game against Namibia. So
Mm-hmm.
they are going to go into this game with Antonio Signori. I hope I'm
Mm-hmm.
pronouncing his name correctly. But he's a 29-year-old goalkeeper that plays for a team in the third division of Swiss League. The
Mm-hmm.
guy is playing against under 21s in Switzerland. Because
Mm-hmm.
of the level that he's playing is in the third division. The teams that compete there are like FC Barcelona 21,
Mm-hmm.
FC Luzerne under 21, FC this thing, and he's 29 years old, so he's an Agbaya. He's just going and he's just bullying those small boys. So I think that they are going to be lacking quality in goal, and that is something that I
Mm-hmm.
would hope that the Super Eagles can test him, and can give him a few shots to handle, put in some dangerous crosses. Let us see if he has the conviction to come out and punch a ball or to claim a cross in the air. And of course, we know that Osimhen is going to be putting pressure on the defenders. So the Angolan side, while they have a few players that we obviously have to pay attention to, I think that they also have a few weaknesses that we can exploit. Like, what do you think? Who do you think on the Angolan side do we need to be aware of?
So you mentioned Gesindala. I think he's the key player. He's the guy that controls the whole thing. But he's the second top scorer in this AFCON with 4 goals.
Yeah.
2 goals against Namibia, 2 goals against Mauritania. So he did score against Burkina Faso. So I'm just it's the game that they start to play. That's when he score. But I'm pretty sure that this coach will set up the way they set up against Algeria. They will use 3-5-2. So talking about the goalkeeper of Angola, he's playing with kids that is old enough to be their father. And sometimes too, you have to cut some slacks too slightly because Super Eagles too, we played against Zimbabwe goalkeeper that don't even have any club. He has not kept for like four months or so. We could not score against him. Only 1 goal. So it's when you see shots play, you score. But I think that their goalkeeper will be under pressure. Just like you said about Onana. No, not Onana, sorry, the other guy, Ondua.
Ondoa.
That he had mistakes in him. So a player that will go very key for them is going to be Gaspar. Their central defender. And actually what Jonathan Bauchu. So I think it's going with Bantu, Knito, and actually what Gaspar. Knito plays for Petro Atletico de Luanda in Angolan League. It doesn't matter. But I know that these guys are slow and they might not. If they concede 1 goal, they're going to be in trouble for more. That is what I say about them. It won't be like the Algerian game. Forget it. If they concede, this game is not 2 o'clock. This game is going to be played at 6 p.m. 5 p.m. What's it called? Ivorian
Ivorian
time.
time.
So I think Sindala will be key and Freddy. Because if those guys are actually what marked out, I think Mabululu will not have anything. They also have a player from Cagliari actually. So that is called Zito Lumumbo. He was the first choice, but I think he was misfiring. But when they brought in Mabululu started scoring, and the guy was on the bench. So he has played for Cagliari. I think he played 10 games, he scored 3 goals. So it's also a player that we have to watch out for. But for me, just go and prepare barbecue. We are using
Right,
antelope
we are going to
this
roast
Friday.
antelope that night.
Yes, that is it. Yes.
Okay, amazing. And then I mean, for context, for anybody that might not be aware, typically, we've seen them set up with a 4-3-3 in this tournament. Let us see
Mm-hmm.
if they're going to keep it like that. Of course, we're expecting the Super Eagles to set up in our own 3-4-3 that has worked for us so far. So yes, moving on to the Nigerian squad. I mean, the boys are coming in on a high. Very, very, very big win against Cameroon. 2-0 win. Lookman with 2 goals. Osimhen with a fantastic performance. Frank Onyeka living up to his name, the tank. We saw Ekong put Magri, the Cameroonian striker, in his pocket. We saw another fantastic game from Calvin Bassey. Olaino continuing to show his flair, show his quality from the right wing back position. The Super Eagles, do you think, I know that the players are saying that they are staying focused and everything. But do you think that there's any chance that maybe the Super Eagles can go into this game feeling a little bit overconfident? Do you think it's possible?
Yeah, it's possible because and it's what you see in these Eagles. When we had a very good performance against Harry Coast, you can see that there was a drop in performance against Guinea-Bissau.
Mm,
Because it's like you went to war. If you fought lion, you fought this thing. Then somebody is now no. They went so you can see that drop. But I think that Jose Pascal should be giving them the air dryer treatment. Like guys, the battle. If you beat Cameroon and you lose against Angola, people will not come and welcome you in the airport. People you think that you go and waste taxpayers' money in in Ivory Coast.
mm,
So if quarterfinal exit is a failure, so that one should be enough motivation for them to do well.
mm. Okay, well said.
Mhm.
So yes, like I was saying earlier, we're expecting the Super Eagles to line up in our traditional 3-4-3 formation. I call it traditional because we've used it in 3 of our 4 matches in this AFCON. But of course, nothing is guaranteed. I just think that this team has settled into that formation and they are doing really well. There's in one of the recent training interviews that Ademola Lookman did, they asked him about the formation and he said that they're not really doing anything differently, that he feels like the team has just grown into it as the games go on. They're just becoming more familiar with it. They are becoming more familiar with themselves in that formation. And of course, it's leading to positive results. But let me ask you this question. Considering the fact that against Cameroon, even though it was a good win, we had like 2 opportunities that we wasted and we scored 2 goals. The 2 goals that Lukman scored, one would say, or one might say, that a good goalkeeper would have saved those shots.
Mhm.
You know, do you think that there's any cause for concern that we are not scoring any high quality goals? Because the first goal we scored was fantastic pressing by Osimhen and a
Mhm.
scruffy finish by Lukman. The second goal we scored was another good cross by Bassi and another, just narrowly missed the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper punched it in type of goal. Whereas other teams are scoring clear goals. They whip in a beautiful cross, they head it in. They pass to a player through ball, he finishes well. Is there any cause for concern there that our strikers, our forwards are not, you know, they don't seem to be at 100%?
I don't think there's any cause for concern there. I have to be honest with you because I think it's the way the team is structured. If you remember during World Cup qualifiers, AFCON qualifiers, you will see the team creating countless opportunities, you know, and putting 10 against Sao Tome and Principe, 6 against them again, beating team black and blue,
Mm,
creating opportunities, scoring 1 goal. You can see those type of things. But this team is designed to stay compact and
mm,
force opponents to make mistakes. You know, let me tell you something. There's one thing you are guaranteed in AFCON. If you stay compact, the people pressing you will make mistakes. That is one thing you have to be sure. If
mm.
we just make mistakes, there's going to be one rush in the blood moment. That someone will just go and clear the ball. Go and look at what happened between Mauritania and Cape Verde. It's a rush of blood. It's a rush of blood. So I think the team is just designed to play compact. I think it's better we play this way than we play the champagne style of football and we get knocked out anyhow.
Mm.
I think yeah, I'm okay with it.
But honestly, at the end of the day, all that matters is that we get a win. But do
Yes.
you think, it would be disappointing to Nigerians, now thinking of just the Nigerian fans in general, if we go against a team like Angola and quote unquote, we allow them to have the ball? Do you think it will be a bit disappointing to Nigerian fans?
I think it will be disappointment to Nigeria fan if Angola beat Nigeria.
Mm.
If you play 90-10 and Angola beats you, it's still a disappointment. So I will just put it that way.
Mm. So
That is
the
better
end,
for us to win that game and be safe. See, let me tell
yeah.
you something. The last time Angola lost by more than 1 goal, it's been a long time. They are very compact team. 7 of the players playing this other 17 together,
Mm.
coming to this team. So there's a chemistry, build up chemistry there. I watched their game against Ghana in Kumasi. They considered the last minute goal against Ghana in Kumasi.
Yeah.
So I think that this team is not a team that can just underrate and say a team like Angola. This Angola team we're talking about stopped Nigeria from qualifying for the World Cup once. So that was when I was saying Angola, who are they? Who are they? That's what I was saying. Say they only have beautiful girls. Who are they? But they now have more than beautiful girls now. They play football. So that's why I think that we should be very careful. But I think we're going to get the job done.
Okay. And what are you expecting to see in terms of the starting 11 for the Super Eagles? Expecting a 3-4-3. I guess I'll go first. For me, I would like to see Stanley Nwabali in goal. And I think that's where the first question mark comes up for the Super Eagles. Stanley Nwabali, of course, was involved in a collision in the game against Cameroon. A hard tackle made by Nicolas Nkudu. I think it was a very unnecessary one. He was just running. He didn't stop. He completely swept our keeper off his feet. And unfortunately, if you watch the replay, you will see that he landed on his knee, and then his knee kind of buckled. He's since done tests. We've not heard anything public about the test results, but we know that he's back in training as of today that we're recording this podcast.
Yes.
January 30th. He trained with the team. He did very light training, wasn't running around too much, wasn't putting too much pressure, but at least it's a positive sign to see that he's in training. He was limping slightly, but his limp has largely reduced. So we're really hoping that Nwabali can be back to full fitness against Angola and can be in goal. He's doing everything that he can, but if Nwabali is not ready to go in 3 days' time, we are going to see Francis Odinaka Zoho, jersey number 1. A lot of people don't want Zoho to keep. A lot of people don't have faith in Zoho. With all due respect to Zoho, anything that people say is with good reason. He has made a number of mistakes. It was a huge talking point before this tournament, and there's a reason why he was dropped. But I think that whoever is in goal for this match has to do a good job. Don't make any mistakes, and hopefully we are not shaking too much throughout that match. In defense, Zedu Sanusi was our left wing back against Cameroon. Again, he didn't have the best performance. I've said it before. I'm just right now sounding like a broken record. I don't know what Bruno is doing or what Bruno is not doing. But if you don't want to give Bruno a chance, play Bassi at left back. Let Omero play centre back.
Yes.
Initially I was saying, I want Bassi to stay at LCB. Just let him do what he's doing. But Zedu is really not impressing me. Going forward is not impressing. Defensively is not impressing. Thankfully, the whole team is organized. So he's not getting caught out. He's not really costing us. But I think we can do better than that. And if you don't want to play Bruno for whatever reason, maybe he's not doing well in training, then play Bassi at left back, let Omero play centre back. And we know I think Omero will be a good guy for any aerial balls. The Angolans can deliver quite a few crosses. They have some crossers of the ball. And I think Omero will be able to deal with that. So for me, I would say I would like to see Bassi at left wing back. I would like to see Olaino at right wing back. In the center of defense, I would like to see Omero, Shemi Ajayi, and William Troost Ekong. In midfield, I think after the game that Frank Onyeka had against Cameroon, it would be disrespectful to not include him in the squad for this match. I think he had a fantastic match. He, like I said earlier, he lived up to his nickname of the tank. So I would like to see Frank Onyeka again in that midfield. And then beside him, Alex Iwobi is the only player that we have that is slightly creative in midfield. So I think Iwobi, despite a lot of people not being too pleased with his performance, I didn't think he did badly. I think he's playing in a deeper role. So it's not so easy for him. And I like the intention that I was seeing in a lot of his passes. But I think, nevertheless, Iwobi would most likely keep his place. And then wingers, we are going to have again Ademola Lookman and Moses Simon. And then up front, I think is going to be, of course, Victor Osimhen. So the only changes that I'm really saying is Omero coming in for Zedu and then Calvin Bassey pushing to left wing back. Smith Layi, how about you? How would you like to see the Super Eagles set up for this match?
So for me, I think I will not just go for kind of role. I think the only thing that will change in this team is that they're going to be the same because I think that the passes that Kevin Bassey pick from the central defense is also very important because a lot of people think that if Kevin Bassey is playing as a left center back, it doesn't really have more to attack. Don't forget, when we are pressing them, it comes to the midfield. He tried to pick passes. So it's also part of it, but it's not an integral part of our attacking. That's the reason why people don't see much from it. And also he's very, very active too, playing the left wing back. For me, I would keep the formation against Cameroon. I would just only take Simon out. And I will put Samuel Chukwueze. Because we will not have a lot of defending to do. So that's why we do that. Because we not have a lot of defending to do. And I think that if Chukwueze could, I'll just speak like the Ivory Coast game. So because the way Chukwueze was coming into play time, the way he was, it was taking close to Pasero. It was receiving passes the way Saka was receiving in Arsenal, the inside right. It was really confusing the Ivory Coast. So, and it was like playing like number 10, slightly number 10 role. So if we can have similar setup, we go very hard for Ivory Coast. And also the left back for Angola is not really, it's not really a guy that is really, really up for it. So I think that if Samu can be, top of his game, I think that we can actually we can make them pay. That's it. Yes.
And for me, I guess the only thing that I would ask about Chukwueze in that role is, I understand you saying that you don't think we're going to have too much defending to do, but picture in the 75th minute, I don't want to say too late in the game. Just picture a moment in the 75th minute where Angola are hitting us on the counter attack. Do you trust Chukwueze to chase down that man in the 75th minute of the game? Do you trust Chukwueze to run down backwards and chase down his man?
I think he will. I think he will. It's just that he just needs the only person that I might not is Kelechi Iheanacho. He'll just be walking. He'll just be walking with it. He'll just be walking back. I think Chukwueze will. I think it's just don't forget that his best friend is Victor Osimhen, and that one will give him agile treatments. Chase, because they are friends, but you go tell them, say, I mean, this is very important. Yeah. So, but I don't know, maybe Osimhen can say the same thing to Kelechi Iheanacho, but I think he's going to tell him. So I think he will.
Okay. Okay. I don't know. I would say personally, I don't trust Chukwueze that much on doing the defensive side of the game. I know that Simon has not been so creative up front, but I think that's the one thing that I just know. I know Simon is going to work hard and is going to try his best. But let us see how it goes. Let us see who the coach sets up with. Okay. So before we go into the form, Smith Layi, take us back. What do you think is the significance of this match? The history of this fixture, and anything that you think is important for fans to be aware of.
I will just take us back slightly to the history of this game. Because Angola is not in West Africa. That's why a lot of people don't see them as our rivals. Anytime we play against them, they always have this mentality to actually to get something from the game against Nigeria. And I'm going to take us back to 2 games. So the first was in 1989. The game was played in Luanda. That was the qualifier for the 1990 World Cup in Italy. Nigeria had just finished second in AFCON. Like one of the 2 best teams in the continent. So we will not be out of order to say that we are going to the World Cup. So we drew there 2-2. In the reverse fixture in Lagos, we beat them 1-0. But one tragic thing happened. That was when we lost Samuel Okparaji. So a lot of people have been saying that maybe the Angolan people said we brought sham. But because there was no enough medical and everything there, that was the rumor people carried. And anytime you hear Angola in Nigeria there, if you hear Angola, there's always this fear that there are evil people. So the next time that Angola came to town was in the World Cup qualifier in 2005. They narrowly missed out of the World Cup in Japan, Korea 2002 when they finished second to Cameroon. But because Nigeria, because of our poor scouting, we don't know them. We didn't know that they're a very strong side. We took them for granted. We thought Algeria would be the team to stop us from qualifying. So we did our business against Algeria, but it was Angola. Though I will say that we're also the architect of our own downfall. We went to Angola with 14 players. The 14 players that we know, how can you go to it? We get with 14 players. We were looking for players in the street to complete the bench. So we lost in Rwanda in the 89th minute. And when it was time, that was when they just introduced the dreaded head-to-head rule. Then it was goals difference before, but they brought in the dreaded head-to-head rule. We thought that, okay, if we can outscore them, we'll qualify for the World Cup. But we didn't know that the head-to-head is already in place. So when they came to Kano, all they needed was a draw. And they draw that game. Since that game, they didn't lose any of the games before they went to the World Cup in Germany. That was how they went to their own first World Cup at the expense of Nigeria. So we've not found it very funny, very easy against Angola. You will be beating them in like some qualifiers, but no, when it mattered most, they always turn up against Nigeria. So that is why I don't want them to can't score again. So, there's a lot of history between it. The two games I just picked out there, the one in Kano and the one in Lagos with lost Samuel Paraji stands out in part of our battles in the past.
Very well said. Thank you for that knowledge, Smith Layi. So yes, just to talk about the recent form of both teams. Of course, both teams are in the quarterfinal of this tournament. Nigeria are on a 3-game winning streak. Angola, on the other hand, also on a 3-game winning streak. Nigeria, we haven't lost any of our 4 matches, our last 4 matches. Whereas Angola, kudos to them, they haven't lost any of their last 8 matches. So Angola have been doing a pretty good job of not losing. The impressive part for Nigeria is that we've not considered a single goal in our last 3 matches, all in this AFCON. Whereas Angola have been conceding, exception of their game against Namibia, where they won 3-0. They've been conceding goals. But something to note is that the Super Eagles, in all our last 7 matches, there have been less than 3 goals in all of our last 7 matches. So this seems like another one that is going to be a close affair, and whoever wins it is going to, win it, maybe 1-0, 2-0. And in Angola's last 8 matches, 6 of their last 8 matches have also ended with less than 3 goals, with the exception of the 3-0 win against Namibia and then the 3-2 win against Mauritania. Other than that, they've been playing a lot of 1-1, a lot of 0-0, a lot of 1-1, and then they had their 2-0 win against Burkina Faso in the group stage. So both teams are usually not involved in high-scoring matches. So this seems to be another game that could be a low-scoring game for both sides. And then, like we mentioned earlier in the program, we haven't played them in a while. The last game that we played them was when they stopped us from qualifying for the World Cup in 2005. So I think history, is always interesting to know, is always important to be aware of, but I don't really think it's going to play a part in the fixture that is coming up because the players are very new. Some of the players, with all due respect to them, I know if you ask all them, Lukman or them online, they don't even know anything about that game that happened in 2005. They don't have that. Even Omero did not really know much about that game, so you can imagine. So history is not really going to be a factor here. It's going to be about how both teams set up on the day and how both sets of players perform on the day. And by God's grace, Nigeria can get a good performance in, can get a good result, and can qualify for the semi-final. So it seems like we've covered all the history, we've covered all the topics, the lineup, the players, what we think. And now, as always, it is time for us to make our prediction. Nigeria versus Angola, AFCON 2023 quarterfinal. I'll go first. I'm going to predict a 2-0 win for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. I think it's going to be a very similar game to the game that we played against Cameroon. I think we're going to have dominance early in the match. and then maybe around the 25th minute thereabouts, we're able to find the back of the net, score one goal. From there, we'll take our foot off the gas a little bit, but still largely, be under control and control most of what they want to do. And then in the second half, I think we'll score another goal and we'll get a 2-0 win. My prayer is that Victor Osimhen can score, because that's the only thing that has been missing from all of our matches so far. Since that first game, that first goal that he scored against Equatorial Guinea, he hasn't found the back of the net again. And, he's had a few chances in the group stage against Cameroon. He didn't really have any clear-cut or good opportunity to score a goal. So I really hope Osimhen can score in this quarterfinal match against Angola. What's your own predictions, Milai, Nigeria vs Angola?
I'm gonna go for 3-0 Nigeria. I think
3-0.
yes. I think 1-0 against Bissau, 2 against Cameroon, 3 against
Just increase
3
it.
yes, 3 against Angola, then 4-0 against South Africa in final. They go here.
Amazing. I mean, if the Super Eagles can win 3-0, I think fans will be happy for sure.
Yes.
Okay, there you have it. The game is coming up on Friday, February 2nd. It is 12 p.m. Eastern Time if you are in the USA or you are in Canada. It is 5 p.m. if you are in Ivory Coast or if you are in the UK. It is 6 p.m. if you are in Nigeria. And then if you are anywhere else in the world, just calculate the time difference and you can figure out what time the game is showing in your own country. Nigeria ranked 42nd in the world according to FIFA. Angola ranked 117 in the world according to FIFA. But FIFA rankings don't count for much. All the top 5 teams by FIFA in Africa have already been knocked out of this tournament. So we know that ranking doesn't mean anything when it comes to these kinds of fixtures. The game is going to be played in Abidjan, where we've been for the entire tournament. Thank God for that. And of course, we're hoping to see another quality performance by the Super Eagles. Smith Layi, any final word on this game before we round up?
So I just think that we should be careful about the Angolan team, because the reason is, the reason is that, when you know what these people have in mind against you, you know that anytime they want to play against Nigeria, they think that they can get better of Nigeria. We'll be very careful. But I just think that with the firepower we have up front, with our very stingy defense, I think Nigeria will win this game. But please, what can stop us from winning is complacency. Please, complacency is what can stop us from winning. I don't want them to write us in the list that they are writing in Ghana. I want them to keep their lead, because they'll be taking teams now. I've seen them posting Morocco out. Somebody is out. It's going to be out next. And they'll be saying that Angola will do something against Nigeria. No, Nigeria will win the game.
Amazing. And as always, guys, check out our shop, eaglestrackershop.com, to get your merch. If you want to get the sweatshirt that I'm wearing, the Nigeria sweatshirt, you want to get a nice face cap, you want to get a phone case, and a lot more, your Nigeria flavored merchandise, to either just rep Nigeria or to support the Super Eagles and Super Falcons of Nigeria, check out our store, eaglestrackershop.com, and I'm sure there's something that you would love there. We ship to every country on planet Earth. Isn't that nice? So yes, there you have it, guys. You've heard our thoughts, you've heard our predictions, and now we look forward to the game on Friday. This has been another episode of the Naija FC Podcast. As always, I'm your host, AyoT, and I have with me once again my reliable co-host,
Smith Layi.
Yes, thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.